it can be very up and down. I think there's highs of when you're getting millions of views, but then everyone's so negative sometimes. So it can be very sort of low. The more views you're getting, brands then do start to reach out. I've actually reached out to a few and said, look, do you want me to help out if I can? If they've got a product that kind of isn't being shown to many people, I feel like I could get that product and then show it.
Welcome to the Roots to Revenue podcast. This podcast we have today, Curtis, and Curtis has travelled all the way over from England to be in the podcast. Before we get into that, I need to tell you about my sponsor. The podcast is sponsored by Jobber. Jobber is scheduling software that I've used for the last 10 years to run my own business. It does all my scheduling, my invoicing, my quoting. Best of all, it gets me paid faster and my customers love it. If you want to try it out, there's a 14-day trial. You don't need a credit card or a debit card.
Don't forget about the link, www.premierlawns.link/jobber to get 40% off your first 3 months.
Today's video is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. We're going to be talking about the good points of social media and the bad points of social media. And Curtis has a very unique way that he runs his business. So Curtis, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
How old am I now? 33 I'm now. Had the business for going on 10 years. Ex-greenkeeper.
Yeah, like myself.
Greenkeeper, then was actually DJing alongside. So used to do a bit of greenkeeping, travel around Amsterdam, Belgium, Barcelona DJing.
And what sort of music did you play?
Just drum and bass.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's very
That's my kind of...
like you go to like the quiet scenic golf course and then you're at a rave basically.
And how many people would have been going to were you headliner or were you second or third?
No, I wasn't headlining or anything, but I've played in front of like a couple of thousand people before.
Very good. Yeah. I've seen it on your YouTube channel. You have some.
Yeah, it's quite nerve-wracking.
I'd say so.
But yeah, it's a good experience.
Why are you no longer being a DJ?
Well, when I started the business, there was no real way to kind of cut all these lawns and then bugger off abroad for a few days DJing. So I thought, well, I've done a few years of it. It's done now.
Yeah.
Um,
And when did you were greenkeeping and then were you gardening maybe on the side and then you got into it, or did you do the greenkeeping and then?
Yeah, it was greenkeeping, and then alongside it, kind of, you're finishing early, aren't you? So I finished early, go and earn a few quid.
Jason, don't you listen to that? Don't you listen to that dirty talk?
Yeah. I mean, you guys are you're probably finishing a little bit later, but we were starting at 6 and finishing at 2:30.
Yeah.
So you've got hours left.
Yeah.
Even if you went and just cut a couple of lawns, and then you're finishing when all your mates are finishing.
And how long did you do that for before you decided to go out on your own, or what was the catalyst? Because I went out after a redundancy. So I was made redundant from my job, and then I had sorry to interrupt, I had a bit of a round build up, and then I just stepped fully into that.
Right, so what happened was I actually had a bit of an accident at the golf club. I was loading some rocks into a front loader, a sort of two-man job. Had to do it on my own, ended up chopping the end of my finger off, basically.
Ouch.
Yeah. Couple of weeks off work, then thought, I asked for help. I'm going to put a claim in. Like, where there's a blame, there's a claim, isn't there? So
health and safety in a lot of golf courses can be
a
little bit lacking.
Yeah, it was lacking. So I put the claim in, got a payout. Then I was in the position where I thought, I'm doing a few more lawns now, I'll ask for a pay rise. Bit cheeky, because I've just got a payout. They actually said no to the pay rise, so I thought, right, I've got the money, let's properly go into the business, let's get the van, let's get all the tools, let's leave the golf club, get it set up. Didn't really have anything to lose, off we go, sort of thing.
And then you just didn't look back?
No, I didn't look back. They were very sceptical of leaving, but I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I've got this little bit of money here. I can set it all up. There's work everywhere, isn't there? Every house or road you're driving past, is money, isn't it?
Work leads to work.
Yeah.
Whenever you're working at one job, and a lot of the time it never fails to amaze me. You're standing cutting the hedge, or you turn up and you cut a garden, and the next thing the neighbour's out, he's cutting his garden or he's cutting his hedge.
Yeah.
But then you'll get the customers that don't want to do it themselves, and they'll come over and say, "Do you want to give me a quote for doing my house?"
Yeah.
And then over you go.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
And I'm going into the 10th year now.
So tell me this here, Curtis, because I've been following you on social media for a while, and I think you're one of the up and coming channels, and I really enjoy your work. So Curtis runs CJ Services on Instagram, and now you're on TikTok, and now you're branching into my game YouTube. So
Yeah. Trying.
we're going to drop a link to his channel down below, so make sure you follow it. How have you found growing your business and running? We're going to talk a wee bit about social being an influencer.
Yeah.
How have you found being an influencer alongside running your business? Has it been good or bad or indifferent for you?
It can be very up and down. I think there's highs of when you're getting millions of views, but then everyone's so negative sometimes. So it can be very sort of low.
You have to be very thick-skinned.
Yeah, you have to
be
try and
very
ignore
thick-skinned.
it, but it is quite hard. Like the phone will go off and you look at it and you think, that's put me in a really bad mood now. But then if you're putting yourself out there, it's just learning to cope with it a bit, isn't it? Not everyone's going to agree with the way you're doing it. Their way might be better or vice versa.
And then you have as well, whenever you first start your on the social media journey, most people hide it from their family and friends till it gets up to I suppose because you have the DJ background, and I suppose you're sort of used to being, but most people are like, oh, whenever I says to my friends I'm starting a YouTube channel, they're like, bro, you're the last person we'd expect to
Yeah.
you're the last person we'd expect to see on social media. And I was like, oh well, I'm gonna give it a go anyway. So I'd made a video at the start of lockdown with one of my friends, and we had a bit of fun making the video, and I poked a lot of fun at him. It was just a bit of a really light-hearted video. But one of my other friends, then he was like, he thought, oh, he's laughing at it, but he's laughing at me.
Yeah.
He wasn't laughing at the video; he was laughing at me. And I was like, thanks. Like what? Like thanks? You're meant to be my mate, and you're laughing at me. But the joke was on him because he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get it. But then a year or two later, he then approached me and he says, Robbie, look, I'd love to make a YouTube channel. Can you teach me? So he was obviously, there was a wee bit of jealousy there.
Yeah.
There was a wee bit of jealousy there. So
it does come. I think jealousy does come with part of it, because everyone's trying to do the same thing. Like there is thousands and thousands of people out there, and we're all trying to do the same thing, aren't we? So it's trying to be different.
Yep, but there's nothing to stop anyone from picking up a camera and just talking to it. And having a bit
It's
of...
so easy now. I mean, I first started putting up a few pictures, and then you think, oh, like everyone's making a few videos, maybe I'll put up a video. One of the first videos, I slung the iPhone in a tree and it got nearly 1 million views. So then you think, bloody hell, like I'm on to something here.
my first videos, I was really embarrassed. I couldn't get in front of the camera for love nor money. And if you want a little bit of a funny story, so one of my customers started being a hypnotist, and he says to me, Robbie, I need my garden done. Do you want to do a skill swap? I said, yeah, I'd be up for that. So he got some free lawn treatments and his lawn tidied up, and he gave me some help with how to talk to the camera. And he just sitting down and having a conversation with somebody about it, that, you know, in a sort of safe space. And he says, look, Robbie, the best thing to do is just go down into your local park and take your phone or your camera and talk to the camera. It doesn't matter if it's recording or not. Just go down and hold it up, and you'll find that people are not even looking at you. Nobody cares. Everybody's just carrying on with their thing, and just walk around and pretend to talk to the camera, and it'll feel really strange. And then he says as well, if you make bullet points before you talk, so you can get these days you can get teleprompters and stuff. You can get teleprompters on your phone. I've tried that. That didn't really work for me. Just like saying what comes out sometimes. What comes out is sensible, not. But if you make bullet points and read it out yourself a few times, and then just try and spit that out in front of the camera, it starts to get a bit easier. It's very unnerving sitting in front of the camera for the first few times.
It wasn't something I just sort of stumbled across it. Everyone now has started up an Instagram, haven't they? And you sort of, everyone will put up a few things, but it's then sort of going to the next bit. You put a few videos up, then you might put some stories of yourself up on what you're doing, and people really interact with you when they can see you as well. If you're hiding behind the camera, you'll still get views, but I think you
have to show yourself.
People hopefully will grow to you as a person when they can see you.
I can be pretty random in my videos. Like, you know, during COVID, people were struggling to get tools even to do the work that I was trying to. So I really grew my main channel from COVID, but during COVID, a lot of people were struggling to get the tools to do it. So I did a video about aeration, and I showed people a drill. And looking back now, you probably wouldn't use a drill.
No.
But back then, people were running about with drills, drilling their lawns, you know. Yeah. But you have to be a wee bit creative as well, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's just my random attitude coming out. Let's drill the lawn.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to. Me and Mike Day have tried to make some sort of more funnier ones, because some of it does get all a bit serious.
Yeah, 100%.
And it doesn't have to be.
100%. That's as well. Whenever decided to start showing a bit more of my personality, I thought a lot of stuff on YouTube was very sort of dry, and I thought, how can I make lawn care fun?
Yeah.
And I'm a bit random at times, you know, but some people buy into that, you know.
Yeah.
Some people buy into that, and some people don't. Some people are like, we're never watching them again.
Yeah. Some people will like it, some people just won't, will they?
Yeah. We also talked about before, you had said that you can sometimes get anxious with sometimes what you see on YouTube or on Instagram. It's all you see is whenever you're on Instagram and people are posting stuff, it's all you see is the good. You don't see the bad.
Yeah.
It can be quite stressful.
Yeah, I think.
And you don't necessarily show.
No, I don't think anyone really shows all the bad bits, do they?
Nobody shows any of the bad bits.
The in thing to do.
Yeah.
It seems to be coming out a bit more. I've had it showing bad lawns. Everyone comments on the bad ones and not the good ones. But I think mentally, for a lot of us guys, we're out in a van all day on our own. It's quite lonely.
Yeah.
You got all these struggles with kids. Money coming in, everything.
Customers.
Yeah, there's loads of mental health going around, problems. I've suffered with it myself, and like the social media can be a big help.
Yeah,
because
a release, but at the same time,
you're sort of, you could put something up and a load of people will message you, and then you're sort of interacting with them, and you could see if someone's kind of. I've seen people not posting as much, and I think, well, where's he gone? And I'll send a message just reaching out, seeing if they're all right. But yeah, it's not all positive, is it?
No, people don't necessarily see the bad and the trolls. So last year I had a fella that was, anytime I posted a picture, he started off sending me, "Your lawns are shit," or "Your lawns used to be shit, but now they're good."
Right.
And he kept saying it, and then I realised it was banter. But he said it in every post.
Yeah.
And he was obviously trying to be funny, but I couldn't get my head around it, so in the end I had to block him, because I was like,
you just saw it as a negative.
Yeah, it just seems as a negative, and you're like, I don't need that. You know, it's like
when it's coming across through text on a screen, you could read it completely wrong.
Yeah, I think he was trying to be funny, but I just couldn't deal with I was like, no, that's just too much. It's all right if you said it every now and again, or you put a lol or something behind it.
Yeah.
But he said it the first few times he said it, I was like, where am I on shit?
You're just going to get a lol at the end of all the comments now on this video. It's a lol.
Yeah.
So if that's happening, don't put the S word on the end of this video.
But yeah, I think if anyone is struggling, just talk to people. That's all they need to do.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll put my headphones in and I'll start working, and I might call someone, just have a chat and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there, they seem to be watching what you're doing, but some don't talk.
Less about the mental health. If people are being negative to me, usually I just remove them from my view.
Yeah.
The best thing to say is, look, thank you for your feedback, and close it down.
On a lot of these platforms as well, a negative comment is still helping us.
Yeah.
It's boosting our post in the algorithm. but I don't think they seem to realise that. Like,
No.
just don't post. That it's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you'll see a lot of posts. You can actually turn something that's quite controversial into a really good post because all the negative people will post comments on it, and then the post does really, really well.
Or you
But
can,
they're just feeding it.
or
basically.
you can build your content to lean into that. I tried that recently with something, and the content that it did reached a huge amount of people, but I got quite a bit of stick from it as well, and quite a few people unfollowed me from it. So
Right.
it was I'm not gonna say what videos it was, but it was a nice little experience just for my own, to see what works, because you always, with social media, you always have to test.
Yeah.
You always have to put stuff out, test and measure and see how it goes, and then just try and learn from that.
Yeah.
If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It's also on Spotify. You can find us in Apple Music and Google Podcasts. So you touched on something there, and you do work with another creator. Do you want to talk a wee bit about some of the work you do with?
Yeah, so me and Mike Day, a few of you guys on Instagram
Yep.
probably know him. He's got a YouTube page as well. We were sort of backwards and forwards chatting, both using the same tools, and it was sort of like, well, why don't we make some videos with both of us? Because no one was actually doing it. It's all just, we're all doing it individually.
Yeah.
And we thought, oh, maybe we'll do a video where I've got a tool and we throw the battery or something, and then someone else catches it. So we started doing that. And the views from it were really good. A few of the companies have picked up on it.
You're taking ideas here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well, it'd be pretty good, because then you can pull the tools you have. It means all of a sudden you have double the amount of tools that
Yeah.
talk and work
And
with.
it's like, from then on,
Yeah.
no one really knows what to expect, because it could go anywhere, a video, couldn't
Yeah.
it? One video, it could just be me, or the next video, it could be me, then Mike comes into it. We've done a few at some shows showing different brands, running the same battery. But we sort of saw that no one was doing it and thought, oh, we'll kind of go in there. And with two of us, it's like, well, you're like a team then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, if maybe I'm not feeling it as much, Mike will then pick me up and then get me back on board, and vice versa. It works both ways.
I come up with the rash ideas, and he's like, Robbie, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And then it happens anyway.
Yeah, it just keeps motivation up, I think, with two.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got you two guys here working. With me, it's just me. Yeah. So it's quite, I've got to do...
It's hard as well. It's hard as well filming yourself.
Yeah, I've got...
It's hard filming yourself and being creative and trying to get the camera there, and then doing a bit, and then trying. It can be really slow and tricky.
And doing the work.
And doing the work,
like, trying to do it all is difficult, but then you can make it as simple as possible. If
Simple's
you want
good.
to.
My mind simple's,
Yeah.
my mind simple's
some
good.
of the videos do really well being really basic.
Instagram's really good because everything, the stuff that does well tends to be nice and close.
Yeah.
And if it's nice and satisfying to watch, I think you've got that down to a T with a lot of your content.
Yeah, I tried to, on some of them, you could spend a long time editing and you're not really getting any views from it. So it was like, oh, I'd kind of put the least amount of time into it as possible. And then those videos were doing millions of views, which you think, well, kind of less is more then, maybe.
Yeah.
But
We spend a long time making one video. So one video might take 8 hours to make, or if me and him are at a job and that job's scheduled for 4 hours, for example, we might end up spending all day at it, and then I might spend 4 to 6 hours editing it.
Yeah.
So these days, you'd think I've got a lot better at editing and filming, but they're more and more. Everyone's more and more complicated.
yeah,
And you're like, oh, that we shot worked from then, so we'll put that in, and it just takes ages. So these days I make less than one video a week, and then the content that I'm making for Instagram, I'm taking some of those videos, a video where I might try and explain how to do something that has taken 7 or 8 minutes, and I'm trying to condense that down into 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
it's pretty tricky.
yeah,
It's pretty tricky, but it'd be nice just to, if you were just making the content for
The specific platform.
yes, in that format.
Yeah, I mean, I got so used to just making for Instagram. So
Yeah.
you've got a maximum of 90 seconds. But to be fair, when you chop stuff up, you've got to make it quite fast because people on Instagram, will, if it's not interesting, they've swiped.
Yep.
They've gone, haven't
Yep.
they? So if it's not fast, it's not going to work. But then 90 seconds is quite a long video to keep people engaged for. I think YouTube's kind of different ball game.
YouTube's a bit longer, although shorts are the same. You know, you need to get a hook in right away, and then
It needs to be quite snappy.
yeah, snappy. Aye, but I found the shorts on YouTube shows me different shorts, different style of shorts than it does on Instagram and TikTok. The shorts are very similar. The algorithm shows me, but on YouTube it shows you something completely different.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe is one of the reasons why YouTube isn't as popular.
Yeah, I mean, I think with me, I kind of put shorts up because it's kind of what's going to go on Instagram. It will just go Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about being consistent because that's all I've done is constantly post, not overdo it.
Yeah.
Because then I think if you're putting too much on people's phones, they aren't going to interact with it and you won't get any likes or comments or anything. So there's a bit of a balance. Like what you're doing, it's kind of less is more is working for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I just try and make the best video I can, and unfortunately that takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
That takes a bit of time.
I mean, some of mine, I'm thinking it's like this time of year, I'm not motivated to film anything.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's hard to film this time of year, and then my thoughts as well about filming this time of year. The reach isn't the same, so hence why we're filming podcasts in the winter months. So it's a good way to fill. It's a good way to fill in that time.
Yeah,
it's a good way to fill that in. So how do you find without naming any brands, because obviously there's a bit of red gear behind me here. how have you found working with bringing brands to you, or working with brands
well, I think the more views you're getting,
the easier it
and
is,
the more followers you're gaining, brands then do start to reach out. I've actually reached out to a few and said, look, do you want me to help out if I can? If they've got a product that kind of isn't being shown to many people, I feel like I could get that product and then show it. Some companies will reach out to you, but then I found others, you kind of have to make the first move. But my dad's motto is don't ask, don't get. So that's all I do now. And if you don't ask, you ain't going to get it, are you?
You just have to accept that you might get kicked back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it doesn't really matter, does it? At least then you know.
You've not lost anything asking.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to ask.
No.
I'm pretty lucky with Milwaukee. I've been with them the early days, and they've always looked after me, and I'm really happy. And Jobber, the sponsors of this show, I've actually been working for them the longest. I came to work for Jobber. I'd been using the software pretty much since I started my business. I struggled with numbers, and I was forgetting to send invoices and all that carry on. So I took on Jobber for my invoicing, and then I realised that there was a lot of people that hadn't invoiced or hadn't paid me, and all that, and my life became suddenly a lot easier. I got so much of my free time back.
Yeah.
But back then they had a thing that if I recommended a friend, if I recommended somebody to it, then I would get a free month. So I used to be a member of, or I am a member of a forum that a lot of gardeners are on, the Landscape Juice.
Yeah.
And I wrote a couple of blog posts and I put it on there, and people started signing up after my recommendations.
Yeah.
So I was influencing back to 10 years ago before I knew what influencing was. At one stage, I think I was Jobber's I was their biggest lead generator.
Yeah.
And I was so I wrote 3 blog posts, and I didn't pay for Jobber for a good number of years through those blog posts because people were signing up off that link. So then then I joined YouTube and started making YouTube videos, and I said to them, look, do you want to do some more? And then they introduced the partner program and brought me in. So I've actually, Jobber's been my oldest partner, but the software is just class,
Yeah.
And it's really easy for me to recommend because I love it. I couldn't imagine running my business without it.
Yeah.
Because it frees up so much time. That's why I didn't mean to. I got in a bit of a flow there. I didn't mean to.
Bit of a plug.
A bit of a plug, but yeah, I'm actually a Jobber fan. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another saying is people buy from people, don't they?
Yep.
So
100%.
if you're there showing Jobber, people are then going to think, oh, I need some software.
Yep.
Robbie's showing Jobber all the time. I'll go and check out Jobber. If he's using it, it's worth a shout, isn't it?
Curtis, thank you very much for coming over and taking part. If you've been watching this podcast and if you think a friend would find it useful, if you could send them a text or an email with it, and of course, don't forget to smash the like button down below and follow along for more of our Roots to Revenue podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robbie.